Good morning, everyone. Guten Morgen, wie geht's? Alles gut? Oh, I think they've all gone out. Why am I speaking German? Shut up, Az. Stick to English. Good. Yeah, compassionate care. And as Rich has already said, what we're going to be focusing on this morning is the work of CAP, Christians Against Poverty. But before I talk, this is going to be a collective thing this morning. Before we talk about the work of CAP, I just wanted to think a little bit about what's going on in this very room in terms of care and compassion. And the answer to that question is an awful lot. An awful lot. Okay. Thinking of the professions that are represented here in this room. And I'm going to just go through a few, actually, as we start. I do apologise if I miss off your particular profession. Apologise in advance, but I think I've got most of them, where care and compassion is so obviously shown. Teachers. I was going to start with that one, of course. I'm also a teacher, a part-time teacher. Teachers go beyond and above often in showing care and compassion, supporting children, looking after children, going the extra mile. There's some teachers just coming into land now for half term. I was talking to someone, Rebecca over there. She said, is it eight consecutive weeks, Rebecca? Yeah, well done. And now you've got a very well-deserved half term. Teachers go the extra mile. They show care and compassion. Doctors and nurses. Some of you here are doctors or work as a nurse locally. Some of you might go into Oxford. Thank you for all you do in looking after people. Thank you for those extra hours, those extra shifts, those tough shifts that you sometimes do. You are being the hands and feet and eyes of Jesus in that work. Care workers as well. A number of care workers that are represented here for the work that you do, looking after those people who can't look after themselves. It's a wonderful job, a wonderful profession. You are fulfilling one of God's many calls on our life, which is to be caring and compassionate. Youth work, anyone involved in youth work, obviously Chris and company have gone out, but anyone children's work, anything to do with working with young people, detached youth work, when you're meeting with people, teenagers or young people, often coming from backgrounds and family situations which are more than complicated. And just by spending time with them, showing to those people that you care, you're also being caring and compassionate. It's just you doing your job. It's glorifying God through that. Charities are also represented in this room. Amongst others, Open Doors, but I could mention more too. Thank you for looking after people that maybe you won't even meet. Maybe you're backing people in other countries and in doing so, blessing them. Thank you as well, thinking about families, looking after, a number of you are looking after your elderly parents right now. You've got a mother or father that's struggling to look after themselves. You're showing care and compassion, or to any other relatives. Children too, and grandchildren. Often we see families who are broken or struggling or just keeping their head above water, and you're stepping in and making the difference. So actually, it's going on all the time. It's going on all the time in this room. One specific example that springs to mind as well, we've got a couple here who come along. They're not here this morning. 2 weeks ago, they had a little baby girl, and so they've got a toddler and a 2-week-old. And so as a church, we've provided for the last 12, 13 consecutive days a hot meal for them. And we could have carried on. That was effortless. I got 12, 13 people stepping up and providing. Just practical ways of looking after people and showing care and compassion. Thank you, Whitney Church, for all that you do. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep looking for ways to be caring and compassionate. Obviously, our example, our inspiration is Jesus. That's who we look to. I was thinking about the Gospels, actually, and maybe not in every chapter of each Gospel, but in the majority of them, we see Jesus demonstrating compassionate care, either to individuals, loads of examples of that. For example, Jairus and Jairus' daughter, or Lazarus, Then he demonstrates care and compassion to groups of people. Remember that he healed the 10 lepers. Only one of them came back and said thank you, but he healed all 10 lepers. He looked after his own disciples, of course, in practical ways. Remember that time he got breakfast cooking for them on the shore when they came in, or they were searching and couldn't catch any fish? Just put your net on the other side of the... No, Master, we've been out all night. But okay, because you say it. And what happened? Jesus nearly got their boat sunk, didn't he, with the number of fish that were caught. Calming the storm, he looked after them then. Be still. And also he showed compassion to the masses. Before he fed the 5,000, what does it say? Yeah, Jesus saw the crowds and felt compassion for them. He wanted to look after those people. Of course, he wanted to talk to them and to encourage them and to heal them, but he also knew we have as humans, practical needs. We have to eat, we have to drink, we have to rest, and he stepped in and showed compassion. He didn't just talk about being caring and compassionate. It wasn't just theory. He put it into practice. And we have Jesus as our example, and we want to do the same. So I just wanted to start with that before we now focus on CAP, the work of Christians against poverty. I wanted to just say well done as a church. Showing care and compassion doesn't need to be a complicated thing. Sometimes it's just a word. It's just a hug. It's just a sentence that someone needs to hear at the right moment. And it makes all the difference. Put your hands up. I'm definitely going to put my hands up. Put your hands up if you have ever received just a word of encouragement from someone at just the right time when you've needed it. I think we can all put our hands up. Yeah, or two even. Okay, good. Okay, so let's focus in then on CAP. This is actually the month across the nation. October is CAP month. So as CAP debt centres, we are encouraged to politely say hello to our supporting churches and ask them if we can get a slot of time to talk about the work that CAP does. Thank you for these next few minutes that we have to share. Debbie, I'm going to work with Debbie now as she finds the PowerPoint, and we'll go through this, and I'm going to get the rest of the team involved as well. Here is, it's a presentation, okay, so you can follow on the PowerPoint. Here is CAP's mission statement. I thought we'd start with that first of all. To equip and inspire churches across the UK to help people out of debt and poverty and see them become followers of Jesus. That's what our focus, that's our goal, that's our aim as Christians against poverty. It's both and. Okay, so of course we're focused on their debt, their financial issues, their problems, the black hole of debt that they're facing. We're looking for ways to help them to get out of that. But we also want to, by our example, by the care and compassion that we're showing through the work that we're doing, we want to show them that there is a wonderful Saviour who wants to get to know them and bring them hope and salvation. That it's not just sort of getting out of debt and saying, thank you very much, I'll be on my way, but actually can get to know Jesus as their personal Saviour. Next one, Debbie. I haven't got my clicker, so Debbie and I will be working together, clicking through. Can you see that okay at the back? Is that coming through okay? Sort of. Ish. Okay, so what we've got, I've just given you an idea there of the debt centres that are around in Oxfordshire, in this county. So we've got the Wickney one, based, our offices in the Wesley Centre behind what was part of the Methodist Church. But we call that the Windrush Valley CAP Debt Centre because it's reflecting the geographical area that we reach out to. So it's not just Whitney. We have our office in Whitney, but we reach out to other places, which you'll see in a moment. Didcot, Henley, Chipping Norton, Tame, and there's 2 centres in Oxford. Next one, thanks, Debbie. Okay, so our local CAP Debt Centre has just celebrated 1 decade. In June 2014, the centre started up. People like Margaret Biddlecombe, who many of you will know, was part of that. So we've just gone past the 10-year mark. And there are some of the places that we serve. We reach out to Whitney and the surrounding area, put some of the main towns and villages there. And at present, we have 8 supporting churches, 8 churches who have signed up to support us financially and help us with the work that we're doing. And we'd like to see more. On the staff, and you're going to meet them in a moment, there are 2 debt coaches. We'll explain what these things are. 2 life skills coaches, and then a number of volunteers. On Tuesday mornings, Katie and Ruth run the life skills sessions, and we get volunteers, great team of volunteers coming to help out with that. And then befrienders, they're people that go with the debt coaches, with Julie and myself. When we do our visits, when we go and meet the people in their homes, we always go in twos, in pairs, for lots of obvious reasons. And we've got a good team of about a dozen befrienders. Thanks, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go look a little bit sort of at some national statistics here. Here's the good news, and then we got some challenging news afterwards. Okay, so there are currently, as we speak, and that changes all the time, it's going up and up, nearly 287 CAP debt centres across the UK, working with over 800 churches. Remember that this charity started in 1996 in the living room of one person with one of those old computers that filled up most of the desk, And just about was 96, internet just coming in. Remember that nice sound that the modem made? Yeah. And that was John Kirby. And the rest, as they say, is history. God anointed and inspired that person to birth Christians Against Poverty. Offers support and advice to approximately 13,000 people and over 2,000 people last year, just in 2023, became debt-free. At the moment, in 2024, that's going to go up to nearly 3,000 on the current trajectory that we've got. Thanks. Okay, so that was the good news. We've also got some challenges ahead. Quite a, what's the word? Startling? Eye-catching statistic is that despite working with over 800 churches, that actually just amounts to 3.8% of UK churches at present. So what we're really wanting to do, what CAP head office is really wanting to do, is to get connected with more and more churches, get them sharing the vision, sharing the work together so we can be even more effective, reach even more people who are out there suffering with debt. Okay, this is probably the most hard-hitting slide. And so what I tend to do when I give this presentation is just to stop and ask you, please, just to take 30 seconds to read what you can see there. That's reality, reflected in our own debt centre and nationally. It's possible that some of you might be thinking, well, that might be in other places across the UK, but surely not in sort of leafy West Oxfordshire. Actually, yeah, pretty similar statistics. That first point is particularly hard-hitting, isn't it? And we find that a lot. People tend to be very open right from the start. With the people we're working with, you don't tend to need to break any ice. They're just like desperate or semi-desperate. So they're just like, they just go warm and share their hearts, share where they're at. And they don't hold any of the hard facts back. So there are points for prayer, which we'll pray for at the end of our time. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, so these are our current clients. This is what we're seeing at the moment with 22. That sort of fluctuates. Is it 22, Julie? 23, 21, or 20-something? Yeah. And very often we're going into homes of people with little or next to no furniture. We've both conducted debt coaching appointments where we've literally not had a chair to sit in. So you stand up, use the kitchen surface to put your things on. There are no tables or chairs in the kitchens. Empty fridges, etc., broken or non-existent washing machines. Some of the reality that is right on our doorstep, literally streets away from where we live. This is going on. And Ruth, a bit later, is going to mention the mental health issues that are faced, but that's all what we see on a weekly basis. Then at the bottom, these are people as well who God wants to reach, restore, and bring hope to. The message we want to bring across in all of this work is He cares. God cares for them. He really does. Yeah, He wants them to get out of their practical difficulties, but it's much more than that. Thanks. Okay, Matthew, love these two verses here from Jesus. Matthew 9, verse 12. On hearing this, the Pharisees grumbling, why is he with a load of sinners? Doesn't he know that he's talking to people who are this, that, the other? And on hearing this, Jesus says it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. Luke 19, verse 10. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. These people that we're working with, these clients, are lost in every sense of the word. Desperate. Just think, actually, to make that call. The only way they can get in touch with Christians Against Poverty is by making a phone call to a free phone number, which is the head office, CAP head office in Bradford. That's a big step to phone up and say, help. I am absolutely stuck in wallowing in debt. And the Son of Man has come to seek and to save the lost. Oh no, can you see that? Oh, that's rubbish, Az. Sorry. All right, well, I'll read it out. Sorry, I should have left it in white. That's my mistake. Note to self. Okay, I'll tell you some stories quickly and then we'll get the others up. Okay, so I'm going to give three sort of, oh, well done. Thanks, John. Slightly better. Just or not, I don't know. Got some clients at the moment. One particular client is absolutely addicted to those high energy drinks called Monster drinks or Red Bull drinks. He has about 8 a day. He has two in each session when I work with him, and spends obviously a lot of money on those drinks. And he recognizes that he is addicted to them. Just a little example. We've got people that walk long distances to and from towns because they literally don't have the £1.50 or £2 to use public transport. So they think nothing of walking from Stanton Harcourt 5 miles into Whitney or back to Bryce Norton or etc. or Carterton, etc. It's that tough. That's completely gone now. That's okay. Oh, lovely, Jason. Could you? Thank you. I'll keep going, yeah. There was a lady, and this is a lovely story. There was a lady who, single mum, 3 young children, 2, 4, and 9 years old. And she was washing her clothes in the bath upstairs in cold water, hand washing them, because she didn't have a washing machine that worked. She had a washing machine, but it's been broken for months. She couldn't afford to get it mended. And someone in this congregation who wants to stay nameless helped us to get a brand new washing machine for her so that she could get her washing done properly. Tears were shed, literally. And that's just made all the difference in her life. Great. Good. Okay, so thank you, Jason, for making it readable. While he's sorting that, I'm going to get our first person up, which is Julie, because we're going to talk about how CAP debt coaching actually works, the 3 appointments that we do. So Julie, would you like to come up? I've been working with Julie for the last 15 months. She is a fantastic co-worker. You've been in the job for, I'm going to say, 2 years. Okay, so Julie, thanks. Just tell us practically, just briefly, how these sessions work when we go and visit our clients.
Right. Well, good morning. Right. Every occupation has their go-to book, which is known as the Bible. Well, here is our Bible. And from there, it lays out our 3 appointments. From the first appointment, where you actually go and meet these lovely, lovely people that are such in a pickle that we have tears. Sometimes they don't really talk, they don't engage, but we always pray before. And even if our clients say, I don't want prayer, don't want it, I go, that's fine. However, I will be praying for you in the background. So everybody knows that we are the Christians against poverty. And they sign up, we show them a little video. Is that going to be?
Didn't fit in on those.
Okay, fair enough. We show a video how CAP really works. And it's from the 3 stages that this book's about. So the first stage is we go and visit them and we see what their problems are. We hear their stories. They hear our testimonies about sometimes when we've been into a pickle ourselves, so we can still be able to function. And then we say, have you got any paperwork? Usually we have bags with some of my clients, bags of unopened letters, which will take about 5-6 hours just to go through. And that's really hard when you're on a time constraint. And then I say, in a fortnight's time, or it could be 3 weeks, dependent on our clients, because sometimes their lives are so chaotic. With CAP, we go to the first visit, 2 weeks afterwards, and then we have the budget. But 2 weeks sometimes is very daunting for them, and they just can't do it. So every bit of paperwork, every debt, everything, we put on a database called an electronic fact find, and that's the debt, everything, their incomes, outgoings, and then that gets sent up to head office with every bit of paperwork, and sometimes that is a lot. I remember uploading 60 pieces of paper one day, and that was a long time. And then head office will put together what's known as a budget. So they will say what their debts are and what their income is, whether they can do a debt repayment plan, where they will say, right, if you send CAP X amount every month, then we can pay your debts off. So that will stop any letters, any phone calls from all the creditors that, well, they just are relentless sometimes. They're just horrible. But we say, you just send it all up to me. I will send it all on. And then you got debt relief orders, which majority of my clients now are having to go through that route. But we have faith and we have patience, and we do need a lot of patience, because some of my clients especially have got extreme mental health problems, live very chaotic lives. And like you saw, the hoarders, I've been in houses where there is just stuff everywhere, and because they just can't function, which sometimes it is like that with people, that we can't function and we just like ostriches. Anything that happens, right, we're going to put our head in the sand, we're not going to do this, we can't do this. But yes, you can. We have God on our side, we have faith. And so then I present the budget, and then it's up to the individual clients whether they take the advice from head office. Majority of the time they do, don't they? And it's just lovely. And then they become debt-free. And then I get an email, and then I ring them up, and then they're crying on the phone. I'm tearing up because it is very emotional, because you are on that roller coaster of journey out of debt with them, and it is such a privilege. Okay.
Thank you so much, Julie. Well done. Julie is fantastic co-worker. I've learned a lot from you, Julie, working together. Thank you. Okay, next one is we're going to go on to life skills. And who better to talk to us about life skills than Katie Gamble? Come on.
Hi. You've probably all heard me say this about 1 million times before, but Life Skills is a 10-week programme. We do 10 sessions, and we cover things like healthy cooking on a budget. We do a bit of budgeting and home energy. We do communication and forgiveness, which those last two are my favourites, although I do love the cooking. Not for my own children, though, somehow. That's a bit more tedious. But No, yeah, we have a really, really lovely group at the moment that they've done the course already, but actually my mummy went to be with Jesus this month, so it's actually amazing that they've stayed with us, and they are people that I know and adore, and one of them became a Christian during something good, which is my purpose in life for this. I know they don't have to be in debt to come to Life Skills. So if you are really kindly volunteering and you drop in and you're giving cakes, which we are so grateful for, they absolutely lap them up. They're not. Some of them are not in debt. So, but they do need help and support, and a lot of them are just really lonely and need community. And Life Skills is a fab place for that. So at the moment, it's a drop-in. So anyone can come. Preschool children can come. We have the fabulous Anne that is on hand. And yeah, like as mentioned, a lot of them have some mental health issues. It's just everywhere, isn't it? So that brings its challenges. I have about 20 people that I message every week to say, come along, and we probably get about 8 each week. But it is family, and with our volunteers as well as the members, we just feel like one big community, and it's really lovely. I think that's it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie, for what you do. Thanks. Great. All right, another course that CAP offers is called the CAP Money Course. And breaking news, in the last few weeks, we've had someone training online to offer this course for us here in Whitney. So, round of applause, please, for Mr. Nick Williams. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I think they really call it CAP money coaching. It actually reminds me of the phrase sometimes hear that give a man a fish and he'll be hungry next day, but teach him how to fish and he can look after that. And so money coaching is very wide ranging. It's said that it is for all, whether it's single parent on benefit with 3 children or someone on a 6-figure salary. It's not judgmental, whether a person is careless and just, or perhaps unexpected changes in circumstances, redundancy or poor health or something. It's totally confidential, so we don't ask people to share personal information or situations unless they want to. It offers further help if they want, like debt counselling we've just heard about. It's basically structured as 4 sessions of 2 hours each, although it can be compressed. In fact, it consists of video clips, discussions, and help where it's wanted there. We're actually starting in December, so I'm brand new to this, with a course to be filled by folk that Katie knows from Life Skills, I believe. So we've already got something planned and running, and I very much hope to perhaps do ones in January, February, see what, need there is really. Just to give you an idea of the flavour of things, areas covered are building your budget, balancing your budget, credit and dealing with that, navigating debt, using your budget, and there are some very practical help things there which we go through. Talk about savings and smart spending, which is helpful. For example, also in that would be avoiding scams, which, anyone can be taken in by and can end up with an unfortunate situation. So that's basically the outline of it. Looking forward to starting soon.
Thank you so much, Nick. So, very practical course, open to everyone. Of course, the idea that we have, the aim that we have, is for people not just to get out of debt, but to stay out of debt. It's one thing getting out of debt, but if you fall back into it. So that is a fantastic course to consider. It's already full up, as Nick said, for December, but we want to roll these, we're going to try and compress them into 3-week courses. We want to roll them out every 2 to 3 months. Okay, next slide. Okay, you've heard, I think, all of us talk about mental health, and I've asked Ruth to just come up, Ruth Bidoff, just to come up and talk for a couple of minutes about how mental health issues affect the clients and the people that we come across. Thanks, Ruth.
Okay. So as everybody has mentioned, virtually all of our debt clients and life skills members come with some mental health issues or special educational needs. So things like depression and anxiety and everything that goes with that, from low self-esteem to panic attacks, suicidal thoughts, as we saw, things like bipolar disorder, agoraphobia, diagnosis of autism or ADHD. And all of those issues make it just so challenging for individuals to undertake what we might consider basic daily tasks. Just things like sitting down and thinking about meals and making a shopping list and going shopping becomes virtually impossible. Making a phone call, going online to pay a bill, all of those things can seem overwhelming and are just not manageable. And the other thing, of course, that happens is that when you're struggling with those issues, relationships break down. People will struggle to build and maintain a social support network, so they can be completely isolated and literally have nowhere else to turn. And as has said, they come in desperation. And so both through the debt counselling and life skills, creating that community that Katie mentioned, we can seek to mitigate some of those issues.
Thanks, Ruth. It's something that CAP head office recognise we on the ground need more training in. So there's some courses and some coaching for us being put into place, because that's a massive issue. Before, we used to say the majority of our clients suffer from some kind of mental health problem. Since I've been working in CAP, it's 100%, literally. When you get their information from head office, they have some sort of issue that they're dealing with. So it's just a big area that we need to be trained up in and need God's grace for, and patience. Ruth is also so she works for Adventure Plus too, and she's looking into fundraising. I think we're coming on to fundraising next as we come into land. If not, yeah, there we go. Good. Charities rely on charitable giving, stating the obvious. So we've been chatting. I want to be honest with you. As one of our supporting churches, we are running a monthly financial deficit of a not inconsiderable amount due to various different reasons. The main one being is that when our CAP debt centre started 10 years ago, it was run by volunteers, and now it's run by people who are working between half a day and 2 days a week who are being paid. But we're still getting more or less the same income in, and that doesn't add up, as you'll probably be able to work out. So, lots of good news. West Oxford District Council got in touch. Long story short, I got up to talk to them, and last week they've just given us, for these next 12 months, nearly £6,000. Come on, yeah, a round of applause. Which goes a good way towards dealing with our deficit. Ruth's onto some other trusts and other funds that are out there. She's our expert. We've had a couple of decent conversations about that, and we're onto that. We've seen 1 or 2 churches increase their monthly giving. And I just want to say thank you again, collectively as a church, for your support. Individuals here, couples here, who faithfully give week in, month out, year in, decade out, towards the cause of CAP. Thank you. It just makes all the difference to the type of people that you're hearing about this morning. Do really appreciate that. Okay. Oh, that was just, that was a fun thing. You can flick on to the next one. That's fine. A couple more things. Yeah, just finishing with this, and then I'm going to ask Abby to come and take the last 4 minutes after that to give us an update on the work of the hotel and what's been going on there. where the refugees are on the Ducklington Roundabout. Another area where we're showing care and compassion as a church. Yeah, why do we do it? Why do we do the work of CAP? We've understood, hopefully, how it works, but why do we do it? A couple of key verses just to share here. Debbie, you're doing fantastically with your clicker. Thank you. This is the famous Matthew 25 passage where Jesus states quite clearly, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat." You know, the disciples said, "When did we do this for you, Lord? What are you talking about? When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, you invited me in. I needed clothes, you clothed me. I was sick, you looked after me. And I was in prison, and you came to visit me." What we're doing is being on the ground Jesus to these people. We're doing it in a limited way, in an imperfect way, because we're all a work in progress. But we're wanting to fulfill those words. We're wanting to be Jesus to people who desperately need him. We want to go into those houses and bring hope and bring life and bring sort of you go in and you see the people's faces change over the hour, and it's just such a wonderful thing as they realize, I can get out of this black hole that I'm in of debt. And then when we say to them, we always offer at the end, can we pray for you at the end? Can we ask God to bless you and your family? 8 out of 10 say yes, Julie? I'd say, yeah, the vast majority. In fact, some of them even pray for us, don't they? Yeah, so that's great. Okay. And the last slide, yeah, thanks. Yeah, we've got an enemy out there, as we well know, that wants to keep these people absolutely flattened and squashed and in misery and without hope. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come, said Jesus, that they may have life and have it to the full. Jesus wants to bring peace, stability, and renewed hope into our CAP clients' lives. So let's be active in praying for this. All this work that we're doing is great, but it has to be covered by prayer. Absolutely crucial. Please continue to stand with us and pray for the work of CAP as it goes forward. 2024 has been a brutal year for many, many people up and down the UK, as you well know. And it's not looking great for next year either. So we need God to intervene and to use us in the work of CAP. Okay, to finish off, I've asked Abby to come and give us an update on what's going on in the hotel and to share a few thoughts as well about this topic of being caring and compassionate.
Thank you. Thank you to my fans in the corner. So, now, I'm very aware you have been sitting listening for a long time. Thank you for your patience. But we didn't want to finish this morning without thinking about how we corporately respond to all of this, because what CAP do is wonderful, and it would be quite easy to sit there and think, well, that's brilliant, let's bless CAP, let's contribute financially and let them get on with it, which we need to do all those things. We need to pray, we do need to contribute financially. But actually, it's more than just CAP's job to look after the poor and needy in our community. And I just wanted to touch on that, really. I think saying it's over to CAP would be just like saying, oh, only worship leaders need to sing, or only chefs should cook. This is a call very clear in the Bible to all of us, that we are there to show compassion and to show God's heart for the poor and needy in our communities. So Jesus says in Luke 4 verse 18, the Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. And we know the good news. We've all experienced God working in our lives. We know and we believe in a God who changes the course of our lives, who can turn mourning into dancing and all those wonderful things. But can I sit in my warm house with my fridge full of food and wearing nice clothes and preach that message to people that don't have those things? 1 John 3, 16, 17. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need, but has no pity on them, another version says withholds his compassion from them, how can the love of God be in that person? And that's a real challenge, I think, to all of us. It's a massive challenge. The early church were encouraged to live in community and to share what they had in community. And I'm not necessarily saying that we recommend that. There is a lot to be said for it. But it is a clear message about how we live when we have plenty and other people are lacking. And I think, as touched on this as a church, we are brilliant at caring for one another. That is something we really do very, very well. Meals, support in times of challenge and grief. But Jesus does challenge us to go a step further. Luke 6:32. If you only love those who love you, why should you get credit for that? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good only to those who do good to you, why should you get credit? Even sinners do that much. And if you lend money only to those who repay you, why should you get credit? Even sinners will lend to other sinners for a full return. But love your enemies, do good to them, lend to them without expecting to be repaid. Then your reward from heaven will be very great, and you will truly be acting as children of the Most High, for he is kind to those who are unthankful and wicked. You must be compassionate, just as your Father is compassionate. Now, I like to think I don't really have many enemies. I don't think many of us are in a position of feeling that we have enemies. But I think perhaps Jesus is talking here about people who are different to us, those who I wouldn't naturally be drawn to, I maybe don't have a natural affinity with. Or maybe it's those people that won't or can't invite me back. Isaiah 58, which I actually think we have up here, it's one of my absolute favourite passages in the Bible, verse 6 to 12. I'm not going to read everything because I'm aware that we are slightly pushed for time. But starting at verse 6 says, "No, this is the kind of fasting I want. Free those who are wrongly imprisoned. Lighten the burden of those who work for you. Let the oppressed go free and remove the chains that bind people." Verse 7, key. "Share your food with the hungry and give shelter to the homeless. Give clothes to those who need them and do not hide from relatives who need your help." That's a challenge, isn't it? "Then your salvation will come like the dawn and your wounds will quickly heal. Your godliness will lead you forward and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind." I could go on and on. But in the chapter before in Isaiah, God is calling out those who think they are super spiritual because they fast. And here it says, "This is the kind of fasting that I want. Share your food with the hungry, give shelter to the homeless, give clothes to those who need them." When we care for the poor and needy, that is the right kind of fasting. It should be just as much part of our spiritual practice as prayer, worship, and fasting. The kingdom of God is all upside down and the wrong way up, isn't it? We know that. The world tells us to put ourselves first, to buy more things, to have new this, new that, biggest, best, most expensive. It's all about me, what I've got. But the kingdom of God tells us to store up treasures in heaven, to put others before ourselves, and to spend ourselves and pour ourselves out for those in need. And in Isaiah, we have this wonderful promise in verse 10. "If we feed the hungry and help those in need, then your light will shine out from the darkness, and the darkness around you will be as bright as noon. The Lord will guide you continually, giving you water when you are dry and restoring your strength. You will be like a well-watered garden, like an ever-flowing spring. Some of you will rebuild the desert ruins of your cities, and you will be known as a rebuilder of walls and I had one of those, Bethany. A rebuilder of walls and a restorer of homes." Well, I'd love to be known as a restorer of homes. Isn't that a beautiful promise? That is wonderful. And it's about when we pour ourselves out, when we give ourselves out for other people, God promises to fill us back up. When I started helping out at the hotel with the asylum seekers, I didn't think I had anything to offer. It was just such a big... The first time Bethany and I went and visited a few people, I just sat in the car and cried. I thought, what on earth do I do with this? How do I even begin to touch the mountain of need that is in that hotel? But I was overwhelmed with compassion. And I felt God just say, what have you got in your hand? Start with what you've got in your hand. Well, what could I do? I could speak Spanish. And there were families there that spoke Spanish. So I started with one person, just chatting, just drinking coffee. And then suddenly there were 5 families that wanted to chat and drink coffee. And now some of those families have moved. But do you know what? They've taken with them, where they've gone, the knowledge that this church has loved them, that this church has fed their children and clothed their children. And they still call, by the way. We have 2 of the families that come a couple of times a week to use our kitchen and cook. And that wasn't actually an easy thing for me. My family will know I'm quite territorial in the kitchen. I'm not very good at just letting people get on with it, and I don't like mess. But it's a small thing, actually, that I can do that gives these families a little bit of dignity to be able to make their own food and express a little bit of their own culture. So what do you have in your hand? What can you do? We're not all Jackie Pullinger. We're not all going to be able to go to the nations and give our lives in the way she has. But we can all do something. Start with just one person. It may be messy, like my kitchen is twice a week regularly. Life may be a bit uncomfortable. Do you know what? Somebody might not even notice what you do, and you won't get thanked for it. But Jesus knows what that's like. They didn't always thank him either. We don't do it for what we get in return. But I can tell you that my life is richer because of the people that I have met at the hotel. So, last verse, Leviticus 19, verse 34. The foreigner residing amongst you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you yourselves were foreigners. It's quite specific, this. So it doesn't say tolerate them, bear with them, put up with them, put them in a house and forget about them. No, it says love them as yourself. I know what it's like to be a foreigner in another country and not understand anything. But actually, we're all foreigners. If we believe that we are spending eternity with Jesus, this is just a passing through place for us. So we're all going on to somewhere else. We can all understand the people that come to our shores looking for a better life. So when we bought the uniforms, and we're still buying them, by the way, if anyone wants to keep donating, please. We're still buying school uniforms for children, new children that are coming. We were treating these children as our own and doing what it said there, loving them as ourselves. So I thank you again for your huge, huge generosity. A thank you for all the coats and the suitcases and the warm things that we've been receiving. Absolutely brilliant. So, so grateful. Please continue. I am going to keep on asking for your compassion, particularly as we approach Christmas and we all start spending ridiculous amounts of money on ourselves. Let's think how we can share that with our brothers and sisters, because when we do it to the least of these, we are doing it for Jesus. So this isn't just the work of CAP. Compassion propels us. We can't just sit still and watch. We have to do something. And this is the ordinary gospel. Share your food with the hungry, give shelter to the homeless, and give clothes to those who need them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. That's our time up. Thank you for the people who have shared this morning as well. And thank you once again, as a church. Our local debt centre would not happen without Witney Community Church. Full stop. So thank you from the workers and from myself. We really appreciate it. Let's think how we can practically be compassionate and caring this week. There's loads of opportunities out there. Lots of us are already being it. Fantastic. Let's keep up the good work. But if you're thinking, I'm probably, maybe just perhaps a bit me-focused or me-centered, I want to start looking past myself and how can I bless other people. Let's be proactive in that. This isn't just a nice message, or well done, Cap, or well done, work with the refugees. This is how can I actively get involved in helping people and showing care and compassion.
Brilliant. Thank you, Az. Thank you, team. Just brilliant, outstanding. I don't think I need to add a great deal at all. Let's be praying for all the Christians Against Poverty are doing here. Let's be praying for Az and the team. Be praying for all that we're doing with life skills on Tuesdays that Katie and her team are doing. Let's think how we can get involved. There's always need more volunteers. That's for sure. Being befrienders and all sorts of other ways of volunteering as well. But a healthy, thriving, gospel-centered church will be a church that cares for the poor and loves the marginalised and the widow and the orphan. So we want to do that as well as a church community.